you're a bit not working. Like you're working, but your video's a bit in and out. So I just ding 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 ding. It's me, Misha. It's Robbie. Oh, your break up, it's Robbie. It's Robbie.
Hello there, everybody who might be listening to us. Hello there on the 4th of November, and I know that we're all about to go into another lockdown. And who knows what repercussions will be found, and I'm not sure, and I hope that inside you're feeling all right, ready to go into the unknown. Remember that you are a delight. If you're looking for a sweet treat, well, think again and just breathe in you, because you are the delight. You are a delight, and we've got a delightful episode for you tonight. Well, the day's turned into nights very, 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 very quickly, because at 4:30 it's like dark. So does that mean it's nighttime at 4:30? That's a bit crazy, isn't it? So anyway, it's 6:30 now, 20 to 7, 10 to 7. So it's definitely nighttime. So we've got a very delightful show for you. We've got this incredible, wonderful, gorgeous, glamorous, beautiful storyteller goddess, Samantha Rose, and she will be joining me on Share Your Smile. And we've talked about magic and stories and memories, and we are all made up of stories and memories. And she's actually recorded a 10-minute piece, 15-minute little storytelling extravagant kind of leading us into ourselves little clip for us. So please enjoy that, and don't forget to follow her, Samantha Rose Storyteller, because honestly her stories are gorgeous and have really lit me up and left, they really like made me remember that we're magic. And then I'm going to be hosting a little workshop with Millie, and that's going to be interesting, and we're going to see just how powerful stories can be and how they can really heal us. There's going to be some other things too. There's going to be some videos, some surprises, so get ready, Brick Abundance, because this is our 5th episode and we love you. So yeah, let's go. Hope you enjoy the show. Let's go. Okay, Share Your Smile coming up. Record. Okay, so all right, so 1 minute. I feel a bit silly, but I'm not. Don't feel silly, it's just because I know you. I'm going to edit it too, so even if it's just started recording, it's all right. Okay, so when I begin, we're going to begin. Okay, are you ready?
Okay. Wait, okay. Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are you seeing us like normal? Are our videos working?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, because you're a bit not working. Like you're working, but your video's a bit in and out. So I just want to make sure
working.
what you're recording is like recording it.
Oh, I think it's okay.
Okay. All right.
Okay. All right. Welcome everybody. Hello. Welcome to Share Your Smile. So this is our 6th episode of the no, it's not. This is our 5th episode, and this episode is all about storytelling. And because of that, I've invited a dear friend of mine, a storyteller, amongst many other things, to join us. And here she is. So everybody welcome Samantha Rose, the storyteller. Give her a little clap. Give her a little
thank you.
Welcome. And as we know, just to get us all settled in, I would like to offer us to just close our eyes and just take a moment to just be still. So I'm not going to guide us. We're just going to sit here for a moment and go into your heart and follow your breath and just listen to the sounds. Okay, maybe just take a deep breath in and let it out. Maybe a noise. Everybody at home as well. Maybe a little movement. I don't know what your day's been like, but outside of my window, the leaves are slowly falling and autumn has arrived. So glad to be here with you. So Samantha, hello. Hi there.
Hello.
Hello. How are you doing today? How are you doing?
Yeah, I too am seeing a lot of rain, the trees falling. It's one of those days where you want to be inside. So it's nice to be talking to you, Mish. Hi.
You too. So could you tell the people at home a little about a little bit about you, where you are now in your life, and a little bit about who Samantha Rose is? We want to know. We want to hear.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Samantha, and I have an absolute unyielding passion for storytelling, to both receive stories, to share stories, to write stories. And my love of storytelling actually started when I was a little girl, and my mum was an absolutely magical storyteller, and she learnt from her grandmother, and she used to have all the children around her, like gathering around my mum, and she would just ignite and inspire all the little kids. And it really had an impact on me being young and receiving such a magical imagination that my mum passed down to me. However, I didn't really come into myself as a storyteller until about 5 years ago. And I was asked at a festival to run a workshop over New Year's Eve, like over the turning point from one year to the next. And I went out into the bush. This is in Australia. I'm Australian. I'm from Sydney, Australia. And I kind of looked around and I asked myself, and I kind of had a dialogue with the natural world around me. And I just said, like, what do you want me to do? You know, what is going to best support these people to transition from one stage of their life experience to the next? And as I was walking, I saw big boulders and I saw huge trees and I saw little valleys and streams, and I began to get really inspired. And this story began to form about this fairy that had gotten lost, that was on a journey. And what I came back with after being out in the bush for about 2 hours was this walking interactive storytelling adventure. And I ended up guiding this festival of about 40 people on this walking adventure in nature. And we had to participate in activities alongside this story to prepare ourselves for the new year, like letting things go and giving thanks for things that are in our life and dreaming what it was that we want to step into in the future for the year to come. And people came up after and they said, what was that? You know, that was what just happened. That was like so magical and so life transforming. And it touched me. It really landed in me that moment. Like, what was that thing that just spontaneously seemed to emerge from my own imagination? And I ended up pursuing and going to study storytelling like only 6 months later at a conference. And it was there that I got to experience professional storytellers for the first time. And I got to experience what the people at the festival experienced from me, which was that I was taken on this incredible adventure in my imagination. It was almost as if I'd left the room. And when I came back, it was like teleporting. I arrived back in my body, and with such a shock, it was like, where was I? Where did I go? That was such an incredible experience. I was right there with the characters. It was like I was seeing it all around me. And it was in that moment, actually, seeing a professional teller, his name was David Novak, that I decided that I was going to write my first story. I didn't know at that point that I was going to pursue storytelling as my lifelong passion, but it was in that weekend that I just went for it, and I wrote my first story over 3 days. I was living in my van. I was parked at this conference out in the car park, and I just wrote this story to myself. And that story ended up catalyzing a journey of me going to perform it on lots of different stages. I ended up finding all of these different tales that I was performing around campfires with, that I was working with children with, that I was performing in communities, then with people who had special needs, with people in elderly homes, in the corporate world. It kind of catalyzed this journey of loving this thing called storytelling and doing it as much as I could on every stage and at every opportunity so that I could learn how to do it. And the other thing that I want to share with you guys is this thing called inclusive storytelling, which just makes me so happy. And this was something that I was also refining in the last couple of years of my travels, where I would get up in front of a group, usually around a campfire, and I was doing this in Sydney, Australia, and I was acting as the narrator, and I would get members of the audience not only to make the ambient sounds with me, like with their bodies, with their voices, if there was instruments, getting people to play music, but to step up and play characters. And so it became this whole co-created experience that was unique for that moment in time. And so this has been my journey, like in a nutshell, over the last 5 years of exploring stories and finding my deep love for them, and finding how they can bring people together, how they can inspire us and teach us, how they can guide us from one stage to the next. And it's what's brought me to England now to study storytelling with a man called Martin Shaw, who lives in Devon, and also at the School of Storytelling in East Sussex. I'm pointing that way because that's where it feels like it is, that way. So Martin Shaw's that way, East Sussex behind me. And I'm just pursuing it even more, and with lots of dreams about how to bring it out to the world, to help other people learn it, and to just share the stories that are coming to me, which is really exciting.
Sure, so thank you for that. And I think what I've noticed from you is the way that you write the stories. Like, it feels like it's maybe quite a bit of sometimes it's quite a different way of gathering a story. Almost, it's almost like, feels to me like you're gathering it from somewhere. And I wondered if you've seen a progression of a change in how you, from when you wrote your first story to how that you're writing stories now. Because I just want to give the audience a little thing. It was our friend's birthday. It was her 30th birthday, and we were on this big field, and we were camping, and Samantha just kind of like goes off into the woods for like 2 hours, and like she's like, I'm just gonna go get my story, and like comes back with like her story. And I just think that's really like a pretty epic kind of way of doing it. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk a little bit about that for us. You kind of touched on it a bit, but I think it's very interesting for us to hear that a bit more.
Yeah, thanks. I would say that the first part of me receiving, and I say receiving actually for a very like particular reason, and that's because I feel that the stories already exist, that the characters already exist, that our imaginations are so full, and actually we get to tap into a greater imaginative field. And so I feel like I kind of plug in, if you say, with my intention for a purpose. Like, I need a story for my friend Leia's 30th birthday, to celebrate her and her amazing life. Or I need a story that's going to inspire 36-year-olds about the importance of being kind to each other. I need a story that is going to help leaders become better communicators, whatever it is. I feel like it always starts with an intention. And so just getting clear on like, well, what is it that I want to write this story for? And I think that's what then we plug into with that. And I want to say that I think everybody will receive or write stories in completely different ways. Some people write them, like actually handwrite them to write a story, and it might come through their body like that. For me, I see it. So I'll actually see in my mind's eye the pictures, like there'll be a show reel that will happen, and one thing might inspire it. So from that intention, I will go away, and there'll be like maybe a character or like a tree, like an object that will come that will take the center stage of that story as a helper in the story, as the main character, as the obstacle, or so it could feature around any part of the story. And then, which is kind of cool, it's kind of like problem solving, like creative problem solving. It's like, great, I've got this part of the story, but this part still is unknown what's going to happen. And I allow, and sometimes I actually speak it out loud. I'm like, you know, to the imaginal realm, whoever wants to help me, it's just like, well, can you share with me the other parts of this story? And it's fascinating how the natural world and how people will actually reflect back. I might see a little bug crawling up a tree. The wind might blow through just as I'm thinking about a part of a story. And I'm like, oh, there's a storm. You know, there's a storm that moves through. And that then will, you know, show in my imagination other different parts of the story. So there's not one way that it happens, and it's often quite a magical alchemy that feels, it feels very special how it happens. And I would say that it would be different for every single person. And the more that you do it, the more that you'll find your natural way with it. So, but in a nutshell, intention, starting with a clear intention. What is it? Why do I want to tell this story? Why is it important that I tell this story and that others hear it? And then allowing like an image to bubble up, you know, well, what do I associate with that intention? And then the third bit would be, you know, being inspired by the world around you. So what is coming to you in the form of nature and people and conversations, and, you know, what's falling in front of you to inspire your imagination.
And we've kind of got to, like, you know, those chalkboards where you've got to, you crane it. I don't know what you do. You you do that, and then you see the picture. You know, it's like the picture's already there, and we're just kind of like, oh, I don't know what the word is. We're just rubbing it out, basically. We're just getting rid of that black so that we can see the picture. It's interesting because I have a similar kind of way with the music almost. It's like I'll just play and the music will come out, and then it's like a song in there, but it's a big picture actually. And my job is to kind of make it smaller. It's like, whoa, it's too big, this picture. So it's kind of like trying to like gather it all together so that it's, you know, it's ready. It's a packaged thing almost. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and what I've always felt in your stories is there's a lot about nature and about there's like healing qualities in it and kind of magic and quests, and it's inspired me to like look around at life and be like, wow, it is magic that I'm alive, you know. And also which is amazing, how nice to be like, wake up and feel grateful to be alive, you know. And I feel like you intertwine that within your stories, and also ceremonies. And I know that ceremony has been a big thing for you. I wondered if you'd like to kind of tell us a little bit about that, because I think, you know, maybe a lot of people don't even know what a ceremony is, or kind of never really been in one, and I've lost you. I've got you again. And I feel like that is somehow is really tied into your storytelling, from my eyes. You agree?
Yeah, great, thank you. And okay, so yeah, on my Instagram, I call myself a ceremonial storyteller, and it feels that ceremony and stories have been really closely linked, if not could be considered the same thing. A story could be considered a ceremony in itself. And a ceremony we can also break down into a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Mm.
My understanding of ceremony is that we go into a space that we create through particular rituals,
Mm.
through our words, through our actions, through particular objects, to speak perhaps something that's on our heart, to let something go, to pray for something we want more of, to give thanks in the world, to celebrate life. It's like a mark in time,
Mm.
a mark to honor a moment. So often we're moving from the next thing to the next thing to the next thing,
Mm.
but actually just to take a moment to pause and bring our full awareness into the actions that we're taking and the words that we're speaking, to really acknowledge a moment, can make a moment in time really special, if not really sacred.
Mm.
And stories can really support that.
Mm.
And they're also set up in a similar structure with a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we can use ceremonies as, with particular intention. Like I said, it might be a letting go ceremony where there's something that's not serving us, like a pattern that's playing out, or a habit, or a feeling in us that we want to let go of. So we could bring a healing story of letting go in, to really support ourselves or support a group to be able to tap into that feeling of letting go, to watch a character and observe how they struggled with something they were holding on to that was really quite detrimental or destructive, suddenly release that, what it is that we want to let go. It's almost as if the story can set the tone of then a ceremony that can follow, and vice versa. So there's many ways we can use story, and Martin Shaw, the teacher of mine, when I asked him about this, the connection between ceremony and story, ritual and story, and he said they're actually not separate.
Right.
They're the same thing. A story really in itself is a ceremony. You're guiding people into a space as a storyteller, and you're guiding them home safely. You enter together and you leave together. You need to take off the plane, you need to land the plane together, and it's the same with ceremony. You take off together, you do the ceremonial practice, and then you land and you come back to your ordinary world. And he also said that I really want to pass on is that ceremony and ritual can seem really like, oh, you've got to dress in the thing and talk in a way, and there's like stigma around it, but actually it can be really simple and it's accessible to everyone. It can just be in taking a moment, like what we did at the beginning of this call, and just taking a moment of silence. Like that in itself is like supporting, if we call this a ceremony or a ritual, the ritual of this interview process. So anything, putting your hands on the ground, out in nature, and just giving thanks for the natural world before you enter, a walk, or before you eat a meal, just closing your eyes and taking 3 deep breaths to bring yourself presence. Like there's so many ways, and this is more ritual. We can incorporate ritual into our life to kind of acknowledge that we're in a great big ceremony of life, aren't we? And so the stories, like you're saying, they hold a healing quest-like quality that reflect the fact that actually all humans are on a quest, whether we acknowledge it or not, whether we realize it or not. What are we doing here? We're living these incredible life journeys where we get to meet people and create. We can find what it is that we love and bring that into the world. We're challenged, we feel pain, and we experience loss. There are human archetypal qualities that we can tap into, and stories allow us to learn from these, from other characters. They allow us to be inspired. Yes, I can do that.
Yeah.
They allow us to feel, the feelings maybe we haven't been able to feel, like the grief that I haven't had the opportunity to feel, or, the anger that might need to be felt. So you're right. Stories can be incredibly healing, and can remind us of the epic quest that we're living as well.
Sure. And me and you are studying biographical stories currently, and that's kind of like opened up my eyes even more, as like we all have stories, but we have so many stories that are playing out around us, and memories, and kind of that like shape us, and each of us, like you said, are living our own story, our own quest. And actually the world in itself seems to me like it's living its own story and its own quest. And I've heard some storytellers kind of say like it's time to rewrite our story, and how stories can kind of help this change, because we need change, movement into more of a heart-centered world. And I wondered if, just for kind of to close, the last question would be, what is your take on how stories can kind of help us individually but collectively to really, you know, come more into our hearts?
Oh, that was a great question. Thanks. I want to hear you keep talking about that, please. I would say, and this as well, because there are so many ways we can tell stories. There are so many different types of stories and storytelling. I've learned this going into this. I'm like, which aspect of storytelling do I focus on? But again, really simplifying this and bringing it home to like, when we share our personal stories, we tap into something that's universal in the human experience across the board. So if I express what I've gone through that is true for me, that's heartfelt, and I express it in a sincere and authentic way, that is a place for connection with another. That is a place to realize that actually we can experience something shared, that we're not alone, that we feel a sense of belonging and connection to other people. These are like fundamental human needs, aren't they? That we can feel also seen and heard and understood by another by sharing our story. But also then, like I'm saying, that another person's like, oh, you experience that too. It can be so simple. We've done this since the beginning of time. You know, we've sat around as humans and shared our stories to learn from each other. It's so simple, but I think more than ever now, with us, you know, connecting online so much, and being on our phones, and being, you know, with the pandemic, not being able to move and travel and connect in the same way, how important it is to be sharing these stories, and to just call somebody up as well and just check in and go, hey, how are you? You know, what's going on with you? And to really see and be present with another and their story. And I think what I've realized through the course that we've been studying, which has just been so remarkable, is that every single person is literally a walking storybook. We are full of memories. We're full of these experiences. And when people start, you know, at the beginning of this course that Misha and I are studying together, it was a room full of strangers, basically. Nobody knew anything. And we've literally spent 5 days together. Sure. And I feel like I know these people so intimately because of the stories that are being shared. So I think more than anything in the world, just in a really simple way, if we can just take a moment to stop the busyness, you know, just to pause, because I know we've got things that we need to do that we're responsible for, but to just ask someone how they are, to really be present to someone when they're sharing, and to realize how valuable and precious we all are, because you are so incredibly valuable and precious. I am so incredibly valuable and precious. We are all so special, and we've had these incredible life journeys, and we share these universal themes that make us all human. So let's like that's what I'm really excited about, is sharing from the heart. And in my own personal quest and mission from this now is to actually be writing a collection and a series of stories which have been coming through for the last year, all about coming home to the heart. Maps, that these stories almost act as maps to guide us back to what is true within us, to guide us back to our connection with the natural world, which we've been quite severed from, and our belonging, a feeling of, oh, wow, we actually belong to this world, we belong to life, we're a part of this. And so those stories are coming soon.
Okay. Great.
I know.
Well, that's wonderful. And that kind of leads us into just the audience who are probably watching now are like, where can we like find this? How can we get to know it? So I was wondering if you've got anything where people can join, or, you know, I know that actually you do. So let us know what's going on and how we can get involved.
Yes, amazing. Okay, so firstly, follow me on Instagram, Samantha Rose Storyteller, and I post videos and pictures, and you can stay connected with upcoming ceremonies and story workshops that I'm running. And I also work one-on-one with people, running them through like a ritual story experience. It's like supporting people on their quest, their individual unique quest. And so you can connect with me through Samantha Rose Storyteller. That's my handle. And then I also have a private Facebook group called The Home of Hearts, which is a storytelling community. It's free. And so if you're interested in that, find me on Instagram, send me a message, and I'll connect you to that free online storytelling community where I post videos and stories and run a once a month storytelling ceremony where you will get to experience both the ceremony, the stories being held in that container around the new moon, which is a really incredible opportunity to plant seeds of new beginnings and to dream what it is that you want to create in your world. Very, very powerful, very supportive, magical spaces. And I'm also about to create a YouTube channel.
Yeah, so you are.
That's what I'm doing. I know, it's exciting. Yeah. And so that's going to happen over like the winter time. So stay posted for that. I'm pretty sure the YouTube will be Samantha Rose Storyteller too.
Great.
So
Fantastic.
there'll be more stories coming.
Thank you. And I realize we've literally just touched the tip of the iceberg. As we're talking, we could go here and layers and knots and untangle, but we have to keep to 20 minutes. And I think it's just a little taster of the magic of stories and how they are here to guide us and to heal us, and how, if anything, just to take more clarity on how that it's possible to be incredibly excited to be alive, and why would it not be, because life is a wonder. So thank you so much for joining us. And just as we began to close, I'd like us just to go into a little moment of silence, just to let everything drop. So I invite you to close your eyes, and audience at home, close your eyes, and to let all of these lovely melodies of our voices and ideas and inspirations just to slowly, like snow, kind of settle on our hearts. Okay, and we'll just take a deep breath in and let it out. And thank yourself for giving yourself that moment. Thank you, Misha, and the moment.
Thank you.
And thank you, Samantha, for joining us, and thank you, audience, for being here. And please add her on Instagram and follow her, and let's all inspire each other with the stories that we tell. So thank you. And next up, Samantha's gonna do a little 10-minute clip for us, so stay in tuned. Okay, lots of love, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks, Mish.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this moment with me, your host, Misha. And I just want to say a big shout out to Robin, because unfortunately she couldn't make it today. She's got some things that she's got to do, probably Christmas shopping before the shops close, and we cannot buy clothes anymore at the supermarkets because the world has gone insane, and who knows for how long. Anyway, it was maybe already a bit insane, and maybe there's not that much wrong with being insane. So anyway, now we're going into a new bit, and I'm going to welcome Millie into the screen to join us for this tasty treat that we're about to embark on together. So
Hello.
just waiting for her webcam to work.
Hello.
Millie, we can't see you though. Does it matter?
I'm a bit shy.
Oh, okay. So Millie is a cat, but we can hear Millie. So that's great. So Millie, I'm just going to let you know what we're going to do and audience. So I've just been on a storytelling course about biographical stories and how how stories they shape us, and actually we're all made of stories. And you look at one person and you think, wow, how many stories they have accumulated over their lives and how much they shape us. And also about memories and how memories really, there's like a bank of memories that are like under the question first, Millie, where do you think memories go to? Where do they live, memories?
Where do they live?
Millie? Yeah, where are they?
I don't know. I never really thought of that before. I guess I feel like they live inside things that are living. So like they just live inside me. I guess I didn't think of them living anywhere else.
But it's like, you say something to me and that reminds me of the time when I fell into a nettle bush, and it's like, where did that thing come from? It's like, and the man, this very, very incredible man called Roy, don't know his second name, and I've been studying at Emerson College. You should check it out. Emerson College, the storytelling course. There's a 3-month one long that's happening soon. Anyway, I don't need to do too much advertising, but he said like there's like a what did he say now? It's like a bank of memories. Or he didn't use that word. It was way more poetic. But it's like there's like how I would see it is there's like there's just this like pool of memories that you can like pull out of. That's not how I would see it either, but I'm tired. There's just lots of memories anyway inside of us. They must be somewhere inside of us that they're ready. They just want to be heard. So what I want to try with us, Millie, is also stories and memories and stories. They can be really healing. They can make people. When I say stories to you, what kind of, how do stories affect you?
I think stories are kind of everywhere, and I think that that's how we kind of navigate the world, is through stories, through like stories that we've heard from when we were kids. We tell each other stories all the time. I think we rely on stories quite a lot. Yeah. I don't know.
Calm down your nervous system, and I don't know, help you to feel connected. So what I wanted to try was just to say, like, have a little feel into, Millie, something that you would like me to tell you a story about. Now, this is not like a made up story, like just a story of something that's happened in my life. So, for example, I'm going to ask you to go into your pool of memories to pick out a time, a story, because a memory is kind of a story, a story that's related to the topic that I want to know about. And currently, I'm feeling a bit sad. Today, I'm feeling a bit sad because I feel like I can't seem to crack my eating and exercising. So I'm hoping that you could tell me a story about. Trying to think, either a time of perseverance where you've kept going, or a time where you felt like you're going to give up and you haven't, or perseverance. That's the word. So a story about perseverance. That's what I would like from your memory bank, from your life, if possible. And you can tell us it.
Okay. So, wait, a story from my memory bank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter like from when or what it's about.
No, just anything. You mean you can tell us when it was and where, what it's a, but it can be anything. Just whatever, what comes to you, like the thing. There'll be one memory that's there about perseverance from your life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
I think like perseverance.
Where you kept going, or
It makes me think of and I don't know. I don't know if this is exactly perseverance, but it felt like perseverance, even though I guess maybe I wasn't necessarily doing all the work. But this is just what comes to mind, like immediately. I was performing at a festival near Berlin, and there was a whole troupe of us, including my sister and her best mate, and we got picked up in London by Victoria Station, and we were getting a coach that was driving us all the way there, and I think the journey was supposed to take about 24 hours, but ended up taking like 36 hours, and it really just it felt like we were persevering in getting there. Not that there was really an option to turn around or to stop or to go back, and it's not like we were actually doing the work of driving, but I remember like my sister's best mate leader passing me like carnation chicken sandwiches, and like we were like stopping at service stations, and everyone would like pile out and lie on these funny little hills of grass that they kind of have by service stations, those tiny little grassy mounds, and it just felt like that was all there had ever been and all that there ever would be, we like broke down multiple times, like the wheels stopped working. This coach was like had a big trailer on it as well with all our stilts in it, and it was just like something went wrong with the trailer, and like things kept going wrong. So like even though I didn't have to work at persevering, it felt like collectively we persevered.
Great, thank you. So thank you for that. And the next part is for me now to say if there's any gifts from your story for me in my life, and it makes me think about, what has stuck out for me is that you were not on your own, you were together in a group of people, and maybe it's easier to persevere or to get things done or to keep going when you're not doing it on your own, when you're doing it on your own, it just becomes like, what's the point? You're just trying to push this big rock up a hill, and it's like really disheartening. And actually doing things together is like, it's almost like make the thing that you're trying to do, that you have to persevere with, make it enjoyable, make it fun, not like this like challenge that you've got to do on your own so that you can be better. So it's like, what can I do in my life so that I'm not doing this on my own? So that's really, it's really interesting, because actually me and my housemates for the lockdown, we exercised 3 times a week together, and we kept it going for months and months and months, purely because we were all doing it together. If I was just me trying to do that on my own, there was no way. So that's just reminded me also, again, I think, to not do it on your own. So I'm going to ask for some support. So thanks for that. Great. So now, Millie, you can ask for me for a story of anything that you want to hear about.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
I'll do my best to tell the memory.
I would like to hear a story about something or like a time where you had like a realization?
Right. Just then. No, I'm joking. When I had a realization. Okay, and I'm on a daytime TV show, so let's get the right one. When I had a realization. Okay, so I've got one. So it was quite a while ago, and I was working in a nursery. I'd come back. Yeah, I was working in a nursery, and I was going to work, and I was living in Whalley Range, but I was working where I grew up in Hale, or near Hale. I didn't grow up right in Hale, but anyway, I was working in Hale, and it was a really long journey. And actually, I was a massive stoner, so I had to be like staying up until 4 a.m, getting stoned, and then obviously not having a lot of sleep, and then like going to work, having to like take a taxi, go to work, and then anyway go back home. And it was just like hard, man. And I was quite sad and a stoner and whatever I was. It wasn't the greatest existence, apart from I was living in a wonderful house with people coming and going, but there was something in me that was just not okay, and kind of like hating everything, some parts of everything. So I was like, I know what I'll do. I'll go away. I'll go on a holiday on my own. So I was like, where should I go? Okay, I'll go to Fuerteventura, because where else would want to go? One teenage girl go on her own. Maybe I was like 20. So I got to Fuerteventura, and I was like really not in a good place, not really. And I felt so awkward that I was on my own, and people would like judge me for being on my own. And instead of being like really chatty and like, hey guys, which I am, I was a bit like ashamed that I was on my own. So I was kind of like walking around. I'd like gone into this hostel, kind of walking around on my own, like feeling quite ashamed, and then not really going into the hostel anyway. And then I went to do crowd surfing. Is that the right? Not crowd surfing, couch surfing. It would have been cool if I was doing crowd surfing, but I did couch surfing with this lovely man. Can't remember his name. It was a really long time ago. So I went to his house, and I was like kind of calmed my soul a bit, because it was all right. They weren't judging me. I was there, and I was kind of like, okay, I was in a container, and there were these two gorgeous girls that were also couch surfing. They came like a day late, and we would do like yoga and meditate. And then one day, all at the same time, I was reading The Power of Now, the book called The Power of Now. Mm-hmm. So I was reading this book at this guy's house, and the book was kind of like getting me really frustrated, and I decided that I would go for a walk along the beach. So I went on my own for a walk along the beach, and I had to take a bus. I got to the beach, and I was sat reading this book, and I was getting so frustrated and so angry at this fucking, excuse my language, sorry, at this book. Because I was getting so frustrated with this book that was just telling me to like be in the now. And I was like, I can't be in the now. This is ridiculous. And I was getting really, really, really like tense and really hyped up. And I like went back home, but I couldn't go back. I had to like go to get a pizza. And I just felt all of this like shame again. Like I didn't want to be there. I didn't want I don't know. And anyway, it was just like all building up. And then I like went back to the table, because I went back in, and they'd like cooked a lovely meal, kind of inspired me. And I was like, and I just said something along the lines of, I was in Manchester. I was at home, and my life was just like, I was really not having a good time. I wasn't feeling very good at all. So I thought I'll go to Fuerteventura, because that will make me feel better. I'll feel way better there. And I've actually come to Fuerteventura. Sorry, when I was like, I was at home, and I was like blaming my life, and this is not good, and I'm not having a good time. And then I came to Fuerteventura, away from my life, thinking that I would feel better, but I actually just felt awful and terrible. And I was like, and I realized now it's like, it's not where I am, it's me. I feel terrible. Like I've come to this gorgeous place, and I feel rubbish. And I was at home, and I felt rubbish. And I'd actually thought that it was the place that, it was my life that was making me feel rubbish, and the things around me, but it was actually just me being rubbish. So that was like a pretty big moment. And I was like, oh, whoa, like that felt like it, you know, it was like a big moment to realize, like, actually the suffering is in me, not nothing to do with anything around me. So that was a very long answer to your, that was a big story that had a few stories within the story, I think. And that's the end of the story. So you can, if you can, tell me a gift that was given to you from that story. If there was one. If not, no problem.
I think I felt a real gift of honesty. That felt like a really honest story about like a time in your life, and that is a gift. Yeah, thank you for that. And also another gift was how you kept saying Fiora Ventura, because I just really liked it.
Great. Cool. Well, the purpose of this exercise, I think, is also just to see that through sharing what's going on, it can offer us little gifts here and there that, you know, can inspire us in some way. So thank you for sharing, Millie, and thank you everybody for listening. And we're going to head over to something else now. So enjoy the rest of the show. Thank you.